My childhood was actually fantastic growing up. I was pretty blessed as a kid to have some loving parents, a hardworking father who coached my sports teams, was traveling salesman, and really worked hard to provide as much as he could for our family. I mean, we were a middle-class family growing up in the suburbs of Chicago, so it was an overall pretty great childhood. Seeing me now, you probably wouldn't realize that growing up was actually a lot harder than it may have seemed. One of those things was through my elementary school and grade school, dealing with learning disabilities. I was labeled with ADHD. Later on in life, I found out it was actually dyslexia, and I just wasn't able to keep up in class. That led to a lot of people labeling me the dumb kid. I was held back in kindergarten, couldn't graduate kindergarten basically, and back then it really put a self-conscious mentality on myself. But I think later on in life, it led to be a gift and a blessing that I didn't realize it was going to be. Another difficult time in my life was really between 12 and 15 years old. During this time, my father was diagnosed with cancer. I lost both my grandfathers, one to cancer, one to a heart attack, and shortly after that I then lost my father. So in a span of a few years, every single male role model in my life had passed away, and that created obviously the worst time in my life. I was extremely lost in where I was going to go, what I was going to do, and what my future held. And then I had this loving mother and sisters that I was looking at like, what are we going to do and how am I going to take care of them? The next chapter of my life after all that was college, and I literally got in by the skin of my teeth. My mom worked tirelessly to get me into school, and I was blessed enough to get into a great school though, Indiana University. I'll never forget getting to school, being dropped off, and just sitting there in my dorm room and really having that decision point in my life of what was I going to make of my life, what was I going to do, what path would I take, and what was the effort I was going to put into it. And that was kind of the point in my life where I said, you know what, I can't feel sorry for myself that my father just passed away. I can't feel sorry for myself that I have nothing to fall back on financially or grandparents, and I just really have to make something out of myself and do it all on my own and put that effort into whatever that was going to become. It wasn't until later in life, looking back at how I handled college, that I realized that I did take the right path. At the time, I still had many challenges getting through school with my dyslexia. I could not study the same way other kids did, but it was going through that process and finding a way to get through it. Maybe that wasn't so traditional, and being on the dean's list that made me realize that I might not be doing it the way everyone else is doing it, and that's okay, but as long as the end goal is what I need to get to, I'll find a way to get to that. And that really shaped my way I worked in business and careers too. When I graduated college, I was still a little lost at what I was going to do. Was I going to take the path of working for a corporation? I was going to become an attorney at one point. One thing I did know is that I wanted to do something great. So getting out of college and going into real estate was probably one of the easier times of my life in terms of my career. At the time, anyone could make it in real estate. The market was booming. Everything was going great. It was easy to make money. I thought I was a young hotshot out of school, just living the life, right? And that kind of led to the second hardest time in my life, and that was when the market crashed and I lost everything. And that was a slap in the face. That was a big wake-up call on how to do things and what to look for. But shortly after, a good buddy of mine came to me and said, hey, let's get into the bar business, let's be partners. So I said, okay. We went out and raised capital and opened one of the largest bars in Chicago, a 17,500 square foot mega bar in River North called American Junkie, which at first was an unbelievable experience for me. During that process though, my business partners came to alcoholism and really made it difficult to succeed in the business. He had to go to rehab a couple times. So I felt like I was at a high, and then again I was hit with another blow, and I ended up having to sell the company. I kind of just looked at life like, this is not that big of a deal. You've lost everything before personally. You've been pushed around, made fun of, whatever it is. If you can get through all that, this is just another thing that you're gonna get through. So at this point, I'd lost everything again, and really was evaluating what I wanted to do in life. And one of the things that I took from the previous experience is that I loved hospitality. I love the people, I love the vibe, I love the energy, I love creating experiences. The vision for me when we started was kind of twofold. One was, in my previous restaurant or bar, my sisters were very rarely around, and I always wondered why that was the case, right? And then number two was I really wanted to create an atmosphere that was very inviting to everyone and really kind of transported them somewhere else. The original inspiration behind Hampton Social dates back to me being about 13 years old and sitting down in Naples, Florida at the time, Bahama restaurant. I'll never forget the fans blowing, the music playing, and I'm sitting there with my uncle at a table and just really taking it in and saying, man, I really feel like I'm someplace special. And I was so young, I didn't even realize at the time what impact that would have on my life until I started designing this brand. And that all came back to me and flooded into me. And I said, how can I recreate that? Because that was one of the best feelings in my life. It was at a time my dad was going through cancer, and it was like an escape for me, right? And I thought, if I can recreate this escape for everyone else, maybe they'll have that same feeling and experience and really love what we have to do. The design of Hampton Social is unlike most places in the city. We really went the opposite direction. When everything was industrial, I wanted to be light, I wanted to be white, I wanted to be airy, I wanted to be comfortable just to walk into and experience something that didn't feel too stuffy. You could come in your shorts and a t-shirt, or you can come in your business suit and really feel like you belong there. And it proved to be a success because we kind of recreated that experience that transported you to the Hamptons. It transported you to another place, even though you're sitting in the middle of downtown Chicago. And obviously, the women ended up loving it, and my sisters are there all the time now. So even though we ended up creating what most call a beautiful venue and a great experience, we were really slapped in the face at the beginning. And the beginning of Parker Restaurant Group and Hampton Social was a tornado. If it wasn't for the amazing staff that I had and some really hardworking guys inside the company, we would never be where we are today. So what has been a blessing is just to see everyone come together, the hard work, the hours. I mean, the first location was built by my own two hands, and I take great pride in that. And I think what I want people to understand is that what you see today didn't just happen. It really came from blood, sweat, tears, risk, and just a lot of hard work by not only myself, but tons of individuals in this company that really take great pride in what we're doing here. Now, since we've gotten to such a great level, it's really about developing amazing people and letting people that work for this company understand that there is no barrier to where you can go with us. You might come in as a busboy or a server, and we hope that you end your career, or continue your career in an executive position inside our corporation at the corporate level. So watching people develop and watching them exceed past their dreams that they ever thought was possible, and nurturing that and bringing that culture into this company is probably the most fulfilling thing that I've ever experienced in my entire life. You know, today I look back on this and it's kind of surreal at some point, and seeing what we've created here and all the locations we've opened and the brand that we've built. But originally when I got into the first location, it was just trying to do it one time, right? You start realizing that after you do that one time, though, that you can bring this experience to many other people. And that's really what we're about, is bringing this experience to other people. And looking back again, even further than that, just on my whole life and my upbringing and everything I went through, it's honestly amazing to be sitting here and being able to talk about and share and employ so many amazing people inside this company that are going to help us bring this to the next level. Because what's about to happen next for Parker Restaurant Group and the Hampton Social brand in particular is pretty amazing, and I can't wait for everyone to experience it.